She hosted a gender reveal party. She posed for maternity photos. She proudly showed off a baby bump and convinced everyone she was expecting a child. There was only one problem. She wasn't pregnant, and according to prosecutors, she would do something unthinkable to keep the lie alive. Something so horrifying that it would leave an entire community in shock and send her to Texas death row. This is the disturbing case of Taylor Parker. To friends and family, Taylor Parker appeared to be preparing for motherhood once again. She told people she was pregnant, she shared updates about the baby, she even organized celebrations to mark the upcoming birth. But behind the scenes, everything was a lie. Years earlier, Parker had undergone a hysterectomy, making it impossible for her to become pregnant. Yet she continued pretending she was expecting a child. The deception grew larger and larger, and eventually it became impossible to maintain. By 2020, Parker was in a relationship with a man named Wade Griffin. Prosecutors later argued that Parker desperately wanted him to believe she was carrying his baby, so she created an elaborate fantasy. She staged maternity photos. She attended baby-related events. She built an entire future around a child that did not exist. But as the supposed due date approached, reality began closing in. Soon, people would expect to see a newborn. And according to prosecutors, Parker came up with a horrifying solution. On October 9, 2020, 21-year-old Reagan Simmons Hancock was at home in New Boston, Texas. She was pregnant, excited about becoming a mother, and completely unaware that someone was about to enter her home. Investigators say Parker traveled there under false pretenses before attacking Hancock. What happened next would horrify even experienced detectives. According to prosecutors, Parker brutally killed the young woman and cut her unborn daughter from her womb in an attempt to pass the baby off as her own. It was a crime so shocking that many people struggled to believe it was real. But the plan began falling apart almost immediately. Less than 30 minutes later, a Texas state trooper noticed Parker driving erratically and pulled her over. Inside the vehicle was a newborn baby. Parker claimed she had just given birth, but something wasn't right. The infant was rushed to a hospital, but sadly did not survive. As investigators worked to understand what had happened, evidence quickly began pointing toward Parker. The fake pregnancy, the elaborate deception, the timeline, the physical evidence. Piece by piece, prosecutors built their case. And the story that emerged sounded more like a horror movie than real life. During trial, jurors heard how Parker had spent months maintaining the pregnancy hoax. Witnesses described the lengths she went to in order to convince others she was expecting a child. The prosecution argued that everything led to one goal: obtaining a baby, no matter the cost. In 2022, a jury found Taylor Parker guilty of capital murder. She was sentenced to death. Today, Parker remains on Texas death row while appeals continue through the legal system. But even years later, questions still linger. How does someone maintain a lie for so long? What drives a person to build an entire fake reality around a pregnancy? And how did that deception end in one of the most disturbing crimes in recent American history? For Reagan Simmons Hancock's family, the answers may never be enough. A young mother lost her life. A baby never got the chance to live. And a lie that began with fake pregnancy photos ended with unimaginable tragedy. Some crimes are difficult to understand. Others are impossible to forget. And this is one of them. And if you enjoy cold cases, unsolved mysteries, and true crime stories that were finally solved years later, subscribe for more.